Jane here. I read Morning Glory Milking Farm so that you don't have to.
Pictures and patterns put into words that stream across the page, capturing life as soft spoken.
All right, so I will tell you, I like the title of the videos so that you don't have to, but I actually thought that this book, while it was a little crazy, was a fun read and I wouldn't ever steer anybody away from it. So if this is a book that's on your radar and sounds like you might enjoy, pick it up because I had a really good time with it and gave it a 4-star. But anyway, this book is about Violet, and she is a very relatable human, millennial type character. She has student loans. She can't find a job that will pay her bills and keep her in an apartment because rent is sky high. And she just has very relatable problems. And so she sees an advertisement for this Morning Glory milking farm. And she doesn't exactly know what it entails. However, she decides that based on the advertisement, which said, actively hiring, no experience necessary, good pay and benefits, she's like, I'm gonna hop on that. So she goes and she interviews and finds out that the job is for a pharmaceutical company and that it has been found in their world, and their world has fantasy creatures, okay? That minotaurs, fluids, you know which ones, can be used for making a particular medicine. So this milking farm is about collecting the fluids from these minotaurs so that they can be made into medicine. So on the minotaur side of things, it's kind of like a plasma donation, except obviously it's not plasma that we're donating. But it's that kind of thing. So the minotaur bowls come in and they leave their donation with the help of the tech. The tech gathers their donation and fills up a bottle with it, sometimes two. And then they are paid for their donation based on the size of the donation. And like all the minotaurs in the area are doing this for extra income. And there's different people who are doing it in different ways. Some of the guys are just doing it for money. Some of them are doing it for the enjoyment of the extraction, etc. So when Violet starts working there, I believe it's her first client, is a minotaur bull named Rourke. And for whatever reason, Rourke really, really likes her abilities while she's extracting, okay? And so he starts requesting her every time. So once a week, she's meeting with Rourke and getting his donation. But they also are kind of talking and becoming friends and developing like a casual friendship while they're in the middle of this business transaction. So he is a wealthy businessman and he lives in this area that is very like creaturey. And that's where this farm is. And she's starting to get out there and meet people. So like there's a cafe down the street where she meets a vampire who becomes her friend, and just other really interesting characters who are not human. And so as things progress, at some point Rourke finally is like, hey, you're pretty interesting and cool. Would it be weird if we saw each other outside of your job? Could I take you on a date? So she goes on some dates with this minotaur, and romance ensues. And I will say one thing about Rourke that I think I liked, and I think a lot of other people reading this will appreciate, is he's very clear that there is like a potential power dynamic issue. And so he's very clear that he wants Violet to lead anything physical. So this is not like a transactional thing. This is very much a proper date. And like if she wants to kiss him, he's glad to kiss her, but he wants that to be on her terms because he is aware that there is kind of a power dynamic issue and that he probably has a little bit more power because he's wealthy, he's a businessman, and just a lot of physically he's big and he's tough and this and that. So he's very good with Violet. He spoils her in many ways. And it was a really cute, by the end of it, really cute book. It is, as you can guess, very spicy. Very, very, very spicy. Like more than 5 chilies, I would say. It's very spicy. I didn't mind that. Because it's nothing too over the top. Y'all know I'm kind of vanilla about things, but there wasn't anything for me that was uncomfortable. So I thought the spice was fine. I would say in a lot of ways that this kind of reminded me of Pretty Woman, except that Violet is very clear with the reader that she doesn't consider this the same type of work. She works for a pharmaceutical company. She is there to collect these fluids to be made into medication. And it is not, even though it looks on the surface like it's the same kind of job as in Pretty Woman, it is not. She's very clear about that. But I still felt like it gave me Pretty Woman type vibes. Especially because, Rourke is trying to help her with her career, and he's trying to get her used to and seeing and being around these people that she's never been around before. He's teaching her a little bit about, the culture, what is okay, what isn't okay, what can you say. He's teaching her about minotaurs. He's teaching her, about the other residents of the town. He's taking her on fancy dates and just spoiling her. And then, of course, there's the actual technicalities of her job that... So I felt like it was kind of Pretty Woman. I don't know if you will have that same experience. I did. I enjoyed it. It was very nice and spicy, but there was a romance. There was definitely feelings, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting. Similarly, I was expecting a lot of extraction stories with a lot of different bowls. And really, you don't have that too much. Occasionally, we'll get a little bit of info, but the vast majority of the extraction at the farm happens from Rourke. So this really did feel like a proper romance. It very much focused on Rourke and Violet's relationship, a little bit on like the city and the culture, and Violet, adjusting to life, to this very new life, and trying to pay off her student loans and trying to find a job that works with her degree and stuff. But it did have just that feel of, introducing her to people of his class, and also like trying to help her better herself. So yeah, I would like to read more from this author. I did consume this as an audiobook, so I don't know if that affected in any way my enjoyment. I loved it as an audiobook. I thought it was great. My library doesn't have any of this author's other books as an audiobook, which I was kind of sad about because I would like to read more stories in this world. And there are other stories in this world, and at this time my library doesn't have access to it. And I am trying not to buy a ton of books, which y'all, I gotta tell you, this is tough because I've basically like fallen in love with the writing of a couple of different writers who I can't get all of their stuff through the library, and so I'm going to have to buy their stuff. And I just don't have that much book money. And this is one of those authors who, like, she has a lot of different works. I want to read more. This was a cool, fun little fantasy, spicy world. I'm open to more, but my library doesn't have more. And while I could read it on my Kindle, I don't love my Kindle. And of course, this I do believe isn't, I don't know if they're an indie author or not, but you know, paperbacks ain't cheap. So, but I do want to read more from this author. I want to read more in this world. This is the first book in the series. I don't remember what the series is called, but the series, my understanding is it takes place in this town that is like outside of the bigger world that has, you know, all these magical creatures. So I did enjoy it. I had a good time. And I think if this is the sort of thing that you read and enjoy, you will probably really like it too. So please let me know in the comments if you've read it, if you liked it, if you've read it and liked it and can recommend other similar authors and books. I'm always looking for new stuff like this. I don't know why, but I think monsters are now my thing. Like, I didn't know I needed this rabbit hole, and then my friend jumped down the rabbit hole, and I was like, I'll check out this rabbit hole. And dudes, I'm down in this rabbit hole. So just feed the rabbit. Tell me what I should be reading that is similar to this. It doesn't have to have the same spice level. I kind of prefer slightly less spicy books, but when it is focused on the romance and when it's not too, when there are things that I don't want to read, this was fine. If it's too extreme and unusual, it may not be for me, but this I enjoyed. So please give me recommendations in the comments of similar books, and I will see you next time. Bye.